Alright everybody, here's another installment of Dave's Garage. I hope you appreciate it because this is the third video I've done today on this. And I realized sometimes you need to just sit back and think. So what I'm doing is testing out, I'm going to show you, we're going to be testing out the Quickshifter. One thing I had to do was actually adjust my lever slightly. We'll see if we get that in the right position. And then the other thing I need to do is read the damn instructions. So, what I thought was sensitivity was the threshold on the sensor. So here's what was happening. By the way, I love these the new seat and the levers and the new front cowl, Alex. It actually is a little taller than my other one, so it gives a little more wind deflection. So where I was playing before, was the I thought it was too sensitive. So what I was doing was I was like, oh, let me turn that from 70%, which was the auto when I did the wizard setup. It's like, we recommend a 15 millisecond delay, 80 millisecond cut time, and 70% threshold, sensitivity threshold. I'm like, oh, okay. And so it felt to me like it was too sensitive. So I'm like, oh, let me turn the sensitivity down to 50%, then down to 30%, then down to 20%, and it was getting worse, and I started missing a couple shifts. I'm like, what the shit's going on here? Well, one, I needed to adjust my lever. When I put it back on, it wasn't tight, so I needed to torque it just a little bit more to keep it from wiggling around, the shifter itself. So let's see how it shifts. Perfect. That was the fix. So I had to turn the threshold up. So when you're setting up the Healtech, the threshold isn't the sensitivity. I mean, it is, but it's not the way you think. If you want to make the less sensitive, so that if you accidentally touch the shift bar, the shift lever, you want to make it a little less sensitive, up the threshold. It's not like, oh, it's 70% sensitive, let's go down to 20. And now it's only going to be 20% as sensitive. That's what I thought. No, it's the other way around. That's why it got worse and I started missing a couple shifts, because even just breathing on it made it cut. And if you weren't actually shifting or really making a pronounced shifting movement, you might not, it just wasn't working right. So I went back and did the wizard again in the garage, put it up on a rear stand, let it do its thing. And then I looked up, like, wait, threshold. It has to hit 80% or 70% to act. So if you want to make it less sensitive, you up the threshold. Durr. So that's what I just done did. I done did it. So I made it a little less sensitive, and I moved the lever down just a little bit so that your foot is more bent a little bit, so that you get a nice positive up click. Sometimes if the thing's up too high, you know, your foot's, you can only lift your foot up so much. You know, if your leg is straight up and down, try to lift your foot. You can put your foot down almost where you stand on your toes, but you can't like fold your foot all the way up so it touches your shin, right? It moves much further in one direction than the other. And then you go throwing on a boot that has lots of ankle support and stiffness to keep you from breaking your ankles, and it makes that up movement even harder. So make sure the lever's down far enough so your feet are pointing down a little bit, so that you have that full range of motion to give it the click. That's number one. And then set your sensitivity accordingly. Let's put our grips on high. There we go. Yeah, that feels good. Nice positive engagement. Ooh. Interesting. So why a Quickshifter on this bike? Well, it makes it faster. oh, it's not that kind of bike. Yeah, it is. You can ride anything fast. Well, to an extent. But this is a sport bike. We got a little bit of wind protection. We've got a full tune and DCAT. We're making 104 horsepower and 85 foot-pounds at the wheel. We're closing in on 600 territory as far as horsepower. And we got double the freaking torque of a 600. I know, an R6 with a pipe and tune gets 117. I know. But you're getting up into that range. You still have to make pronounced movements. So I may adjust the lever a little bit more. But it's feeling good so far. It probably also has to do a little bit of learning. But it cuts down your time in between shifts. You don't say, oh, you don't need that. You can just roll off the gas and grab it. Yeah, I know. Speed shifting. I've done it for 20 plus years. Point is, this is better. Keep the gas wide open and just go click. Here's another benefit nobody ever talks about. When you're slamming through the gears, when you got a wide handlebar, it's great. You have all this leverage. You can move the bike around in the garage or a parking lot speeds. It's just easy to manhandle it because this lever is a force multiplier. So you put minimal effort in and you get maximum movement, right? Well, that can work against you when the wind's beating the piss out of you and it's moving your shoulders around, which moves your arms around, or when you're trying to go really fast, you're rolling on, rolling off, rolling on, rolling off, maybe pulling in the clutch, maybe not, all that stuff. It's very easy to put unwanted inputs into the bars. So the Quickshifter is not only faster and having just this seamless, there's no accelerate and then a lull as you shift and then accelerate again, a lull, which is what happens with manuals. That's why I don't like manuals in cars. I don't care, oh, it's more fun to row the gears. I don't care. It's only fun to some people that because they feel like they have the illusion of they're part of the machine and faster. No, you're just pushing an extra pedal. It's not a big deal. 10-speed auto is faster. Oh, okay, if 0.3 of a second in the quarter mile matters to you. Yeah, it's a sports car, dummy. Of course it matters. It's quicker 0 to 60 and it's quicker in a quarter mile. Well, what's a couple tenths? I don't know, you tell me. People keep doing full bolt-ons, cold air intake, ported throttle bodies, long pipe header, long tube headers. You know, they do all these mods and spend $2,000 on a tune and mods to hopefully shave a few tenths off a quarter mile time. Or just go buy the goddamn 10-speed auto in the first place and, you know. I'm a results guy. I'm not a process-oriented. Women are process-oriented. And probably 50% of men. The other 50% just want the result. Want to go faster, want to do this, want it to do that. What's the shortest distance between 2 points? A straight line. Okay, I'll do whatever I got to do just to get that result, but it's about the result. Want to be quicker. All these little things add up. I want it to handle better, so throw on some better suspension. Women are very process-oriented, and the result is sometimes irrelevant to the process. What do you think when a woman's sitting there complaining? Why are you frustrated, honey? Nothing. Well, first 3 times you ask her, nothing's bothering. What's wrong? Nothing. Finally, when you get her to admit that she's pissed off, oh, this freaking thing doesn't work. Oh, okay, well, here, just do that. Why do you always have to fix everything? Well, because you're complaining you're complaining that it's broken. No, I'm complaining how I feel about it being broken. What? Right, but if it's not broken anymore, then you won't feel that way. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen. At that point, I'm just walk out of the room. I'm like, all right, well, when you're done with your pity party, and you're tired of feeling upset and frustrated because this doesn't work, and you're not getting the result you want, and you decide you actually want the result, call me. I'll come and fix it for you. A lot of guys are like, it's about the shifting. No, it isn't. Shifting is a means to an end. The enjoyment of shifting. Whatever, dude. The enjoyment of shifting. I just want to drive the goddamn car fast on the mountain road. The less I have to do to accomplish that, as far as pushing buttons. I still got to steer it. I got to use the brakes. I got to use my judgment. I got to use the gas. It's not an autonomous car. But pretending that, oh no, the extra shift, that extra pedal, that's what's drivers. That's real driving. Shut up. You're an idiot. But I see that here. People are like, oh, what do you need the damn quick shifter for? Because it just makes it quicker. I mean, it really does. It makes it quicker. It makes it fun. And when you're on track, or accelerating and goofing around, shaving a couple tenths here and there makes the difference. And if it slows down or eliminates a lot of the unwanted steering input of rolling on and off gas and clutch and all that stuff, you just hold it and go click with your foot. I like it. Technology's good. Someone responded to my video where I was reviewing the heated grips from Triumph, which, by the way, lovely. And he's like, so this is what motorcycling's come to. I'm like, he probably is in Scandinavia or something and prides himself on, you know, it's not a good ride if you don't have third-degree frostbite. Okay, whatever, Fritz. You know, I want to be able to ride more year-round, and if I can do so in comfort. What I like about the heated grips is that I don't have to wear the big, bulky gloves. You know, like your winter gloves, almost like snowmobile gloves. I've got a good pair. I've got a really good pair of L1 Star Dry Stars. And they work pretty damn well, but they're also much more numb feeling. You barely, it's hard to feel the controls. It's hard to push the button on the camera. I can't feel it. They're so thick. They do a great job of keeping your hands warm and dry, but I can't feel any of the tactile switches or anything, so I'm constantly like, did I actually hit the button? Is the camera on? You know. Here, I can wear, it's 44 degrees right now. It's not a warm day. And I've got my highly vented summer gloves, and you know what? My hands are toasty. So yeah, this is what motorcycling's come to. I've also got ABS, I got traction control, I got Öhlins, I got good stuff. Why? Because I can go faster, which is a goal. And I can do so safer. Get home in one piece. How's that not a good thing? People are wacky. They're just stuck on it. This is what I'm used to. You know, back in the old days, yeah, whatever. It's like, just because it's old days doesn't mean it's good days. You know, back in the old days, some people used to own other people. You know? Let's put that in perspective. Just because it's from olden times doesn't mean it's good times. But it does feel really good. I'm probably going to have to still tweak it and adjust it. I can play with cut times, sensitivity, threshold, and delay, all in milliseconds. So that's where I've got to figure out, for me and the way I ride and how I shift and all that stuff, I just want to get it, you know, consistent. And you can auto blip it, but you have to blip it yourself, and it's a little abrupt, so I'm probably not going to do that a lot. I really just want it for acceleration when I want to drag race or go down the straightaway. Beautiful. I think the settings out of the box, when you do the little setup wizard, it's pretty damn close. I might up the threshold from 80% just to 90, just to make sure if your foot just happens to touch the lever, it doesn't want to cut. So it takes a pronounced to do it. But the cut times seem good. 80 milliseconds seems right. I've seen some people do 50, but I want to make sure that it's got time to get it into the next gear. full type with auto blip. My Street Triple RS had one. Donna's Ducati's got one. Aprilia had it. R1 had it. Tracer 9GT had it. And those ultimately are better. But when you buy this or you buy the CX-14, the factory doesn't have that option. So if you want it, you got to add aftermarket. Now with the Thruxton, apparently there's another one you can get. The Thruxton has it in the ECU and it's in the wiring harness. So you can go and just buy the damn switch and plug it in, and it does work better with auto blip and all that stuff. But for some reason, they never put it in the speed twin ECU or in the wire harness. Digging it though. To me, it's not as refined as the Panigale. It's not as refined as the Aprilia. Was awesome. The Street Triple RS was real good. The R1 was amazing. Quickshifter and auto blip. It's not as good as that. Not gonna lie. It's more on par with like the ZX6R. You do have to make very pronounced shifts, so I may adjust that lever down a little bit further. I've noticed that with quick shifters, that the placement of the lever makes more of an impact on getting positive shifts with the quick shifter, because it's that lever's doing more than one thing. It's hitting the pressure switch, which is doing the cut times and stuff, but it's also putting in the next gear, and it's almost like a timing thing. I'm going to move it down just a tiny bit, like maybe a quarter turn more.